Peace, peace, peace. Uh-huh. Welcome to another episode of Sage Talks. I am your host, Sage Talks. Yeah, I'm enjoying my new theme song, y'all. Shout out to my homeboy, Big Wolf Lex. Shout out to my homeboy, Big Wolf Lex. Uh-huh. Today's show, the case against evolution. Uh-huh. You star seeds gonna be mad at a motherfucker today, man. Yeah, you star seeds gonna be real mad at a mother. You brothers who was females in the womb, y'all might want to tune in to this show. I'm gonna bring you back to who you is, man. XY chromosome. You never was a female in the womb, my dude. Word to mother. So what I'm gonna do, play my motherfucking theme song, man. Play my motherfucking theme song. You hear me? And we finna get this shit started, yo. All right. The name of this song is Drugs Been Good. It's by Nova Ella. Peace. Clap your naps out. I'm into those, create my own dough, never into toes. Big bank rolls, bring me sin for hoes. Not suspecting I'm a bird, cause I'm in some clothes. Thinking that the game's fair, but it's really cold. I drown H2O, freeze an Eskimo. If my count comes short, oh, extra slow. If you ain't talking money, leave a message, bro. Say a blow with an effortless swag. Never shout out Nova Ella. Checking the bag, like petty weed customers, I'm checking the bag. Like Lemonese luggage, up, checking the bag. Took the bus to the dealership and left in the jag. Cat bright like a mother effing pen in the pad. Smoke a sour, call it lemony grass. Designing up a hustle for my enemies. Cash. I was raised in a little old shack, now y'all. Every day closer to push backs. Triple OGs, do the best they could. Winter light, make sure the product's good. After all the things that I've sold in life, soft in the heart, been good for me. Drugs been good, drugs been good, drugs been good, drugs been good. I'm all about making you purchase something. If them niggas had weight, you wouldn't have heard them frontin'. When my niggas wasn't safe, you would have heard the thumping. We eating $1,000 plates when the work is coming. Oohs and noodles will make a nigga murder something. It's pretty gun, look good, but there's a worse function. Put you straight into the flow like a perfect puncher. How you want this alcohol blow like the perfect puncher. Plus the fact is, we some innovators. Y'all still had smack in the refrigerator. That's whack, bruh. Meat been did that shit. Y'all backwoods, throw some D's in that bitch. Stash box up in that whip. Clap the naps off the kidnap kid. Murder niggas like my syntax did. Not a cosmetologist, but I split that wig. No cement when you shit that brick. Ask your niggas need it moist in that. Don't you call me Michael Rivers, even though I made boys to men. Let it snow like boys to men. 100 stacks on Floyd to win. And Cadillacs with my gorgeous friend. Because she stacked like a chorus man. Got that Chuck Norris in. From what I'm told is 94%. I'm about to kill him like poison and keep raking in enormous ends. I was raised in a little old shack, now y'all. Every day closer to push back. Triple OGs, do the best they could. Winter May, make sure the product's good. heart, soul, and life. The soft and the hard been good for me. Shout out Nova Ella for that song. Drugs been good, man. Word to mother. I like that song a lot, as you can see. Shout out to my boy Big Wolf Lex for the underscore of today's show. He made all the music for today's show, everything other than the song you just heard. So today's show, forgive me. So today's show, we doing another show about evolution. So, fam, it's come to my attention, man, that a lot of you brothers and sisters out there believe in evolution. I had no idea, man. Shout out to my think tank too, man. Peace to y'all, man. Yeah. My warrior clan, man. I might name some names real soon. I'm gonna keep them under wraps right now, man. I don't need y'all trying to get up with my people and fuck the studying up. You feel me? But shout out to my think tank. You guys know who you are. You much appreciated. I have become a smarter human being for having met you, and hopefully you guys can say the same thing. So shout out to my brothers and sisters in the think tank, man. So you came from apes? Oh, wow. You came from apes, huh? That explains why your ass so goddamn musty. But no, on the serious note, you ain't come from no fucking apes, fam. I don't think you guys understand how how things come about. Like a building comes about because somebody sat down and planned it out and drew the blueprints, and then someone executed those plans. Same thing with every biological being. There were blueprints drawn out, and the plan was executed according to the blueprint. Blueprints are not fluid, okay? They don't change. A blueprint is a blueprint. It's the foundation of what a thing is. For human beings, this is called the genome, the human genome. The sequence of the human genome, more specifically. A human being could not become, say, an angel human with wings unless his genome was resequenced, which would allow for him to grow wings. But guess what that takes? That takes intelligent design and planning. You did not come from apes, family. Evolution is not even provable. Stop listening to 35-year-old people tell you about million-year-old processes. Stop listening to 40-year-old motherfuckers tell you about billion-year-old processes. And if a motherfucker haircut game is fucked up, how you gonna listen to them talking about it's 14 billion years of evolution? Nigga, a motherfucker could arrive at that haircut fresh out the womb, cuz. Knock it off. That's Neil deGrasse Tyson, by the way. I had this guy today tell me that atoms are collapsed particles of collapsed stars. So he says every atom was actually a piece of a star first. Like, oh, so wait, so stars are now the building blocks of everything, I guess. A gargantuan star was before the atom, they tell me. Even though a star is composed of atoms, they tell me. See, when you're dealing with evolutionists, they that particular group of people succumbs to a phenomenon that I coin fluidity fluidity of specificity. Fluidity of specificity. What does that mean, Sage Talks? That means specifically in regards to evolution. What I mean by specificity, excuse me, what I mean by fluidity of specificity, words have meanings and evolution has a meaning. Okay. And so the aim of evolution is basically to prove common ancestry of all biological beings and also divorce them from a conscious creator. That is pretty much the premise of evolution. But what happens is natural selection is always postulated as evolution. First, it goes from being a mechanism, and then it turns into the whole of evolution. And what they're really doing is trying to hoodwink you, family, because most scientists or anyone with any modicum of intelligence could agree that selection is a thing. Natural selection, I don't like, that's a magic term, because natural selection literally depends upon the whims of the biological beings doing the choosing. So natural selection only comes about after there is a consciousness to do selecting, because nature in and of itself has no power to decide a motherfucking thing. Y'all got that? Nature in and of itself has no power to decide a motherfucking thing. And I told y'all this last show, but memorizing all that Triceratops bullshit don't make it real, fam. Just because you learned how to spell Stegosaurus in second grade don't make that shit real, fam. Get rid of that shit. That shit holding your ass back, man. That shit holding you back. Evolution, out of Africa theory, yeah. All of that, all of those are fruits of a bad tree, fam. You know what I mean? Out of Africa, uh, what else? Evolution, overpopulation. All of those are fruits of a bad tree. Rotten fruits of a bad tree. You know what I mean? And we before this channel goes kaput, I'm gonna learn you guys what we talking about. You know what I mean? We gonna do this step by step, and as many shows as it takes. You know what I mean? Evolution and overpopulation are rotten fruits of the same tree, family. Evolution is a hoax. Earth being overpopulated is another hoax. I mean, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna go a step further, man. Literally, this is not like literally the reported population of Earth could live in a space the size of Texas, leaving the rest of the world for food production. The Earth is not overpopulated, family. What's overpopulated is your comic book shelf. That's what's overpopulated. Because you son bitches come straight out of comic book with this shit. You motherfuckers say aquatic animals came on land, okay, developed legs, and then in the case of the whale, went back to the water. Like, now, fuck this land. I thought it was, it ain't all that. I'm gonna go back to the water, but I'm gonna keep, like, what the fuck? These people believe this. These people believe this. These people really believe that. I don't know what to tell them, bro. So I guess a beached whale is in the process of evolving. We caught him, huh? Y'all slow, bro. Y'all real slow, if you believe that. So let's talk leisure domain of evolution proponents. So we already addressed how evolution seeks to divorce you from a creator, or it seeks to prove that there is no intelligent designer for all that we see. This is one of the aims of evolution. Evolution always also states that we all came from a common ancestor. I think they say we all came from prokaryotes and eukaryote, like we're all the same. And so a lot of these people, they say that the commonality in DNA shows a common ancestor. They believe common design means a common ancestor. This is what they believe. Again, so evolution seeks to prove all biological beings have a common ancestor. And to prove this, they use natural selection that we do observe. But natural selection isn't, excuse me, adaptation, which we do observe. But adaptation slash natural selection, these things are wholly contingent upon the whims of thinking thinking beings. Wholly contingent upon the whims of thinking beings, natural selection. Evolutionists will tell you that the reason their theory is true is because time. Basically, they're saying that time or existence itself has been around so long that things were able to just come about due to time. Family, we speak in time values. We say days, we say minutes, we say seconds, but I need you to comprehend a thing or two. Time is a non-physical mental abstraction that has no power to act on tangible items. Time is a mental concept, an abstraction that has no power to act on physical items. Time acts on nothing. Why do you get old, Sage Talks, if time acts on nothing? Come on. Are you telling me that time came up and rubbed you in the face and you got old? No, that's not what happened. Your cells, are not regenerating speedily enough. Has nothing to do with time. It's all about programming. It's the program. It's the program. Time doesn't act on physical objects. Never let somebody tell you that time caused something to happen. Time acts on nothing. Now, things happen within a framework that we can measure. In a measurable framework, things happen. And this framework is called time. But time itself is not what's acting on things. It's what you do within that framework that's acting on things. Time itself acts on nothing. Natural selection is not a thing. It is a concept. Natural selection is a concept. It's not a thing, family. No one can weigh natural selection for you and tell you how much it weighs. They have no atomic weight for natural selection. It has no chemical makeup. It can't fart. It can't move anything. It has no. Natural selection is a concept, and as such has no power to act on tangible items, much like time. Now, you know we're not going to do no whole show and we don't read something. You know that, right? All right. So on the last show we did, I want to say 3 or 4 points out of 10, which were impediments to biological and chemical evolution. You remember? Do you remember? Do you remember that random mutations can't generate the genetic information required for irreducibly complex structures? Random mutations cannot generate the genetic information required for irreducibly complex structures. In fact, mutations essentially are, you can look at a genetic mutation essentially as a loss of information or a loss of specificity in the information. This is what mutations really are. Rarely do you find a mutation that is beneficial to survival, and when you do find a mutation that's beneficial to survival, it's usually situation specific. It's usually situation specific. Now, I don't want to have to break down every damn phrase I say, y'all. So I hope you grasp what that term means. You know what I mean? So mutations are usually deleterious for the biological system. Okay, but according to evolutionists, mutation is the a mechanism that moves evolution forward, according to them. But we know that mutations are just that, a mutation. Is almost like a imperfect facsimile. In fact, that's exactly what it is. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna stop allowing people to just tell us things. Remember, science is only moved forward through the scientific method, also known as the experimental method. Evolutionists use time as one of the main components of evolution. I guess they want to use that as the independent variable, I guess. That being the case, ask them to provide studies proving that time has acted upon anything, and they will be found wanting, because no scientific experiments exist that show time acting upon something. In fact, evolution itself is a process that takes millions of years. Human beings live 70 years. How can a 70-year-old tell you about a million-year-old process? We don't even have a million years of written history. Sound like a whole bunch of BS and extrapolation to me. Yeah. At this time, At this time, I want to shout out my honorary sponsor for today's show. Yeah. Now, what an honorary sponsor is, this is an honorary sponsor is not someone who gave the show money. Possibly it's not even someone who is in contact with the show or even knows that I exist. An honorary sponsor sponsors the show by inspiring me to want to do the show. Today's honorary sponsor who inspired me, who I learned from, whose books I have read, I want to shout out an author by the name of Harun Yahya. He wrote a book called Evolution by Deceit. Very easy read. Very easy read. And all those who are interested will find themselves more informed regarding the mechanics of the evolution argument. Not evolution itself, but the evolution arguments. I advise all people who love to argue and debate to read that book. Nothing but fuel, rocket fuel. So today's honorary sponsor is Harun Yahya. I'm going to spell his name for those who cannot see the screen. His name is Harun Yahya, Harun, Yahya, Yaya. The book that I'm shouting out today, he has tons of books. This man is a master scholar. The one I'm really shouting out today is called Evolution by Deceit. Of course, this book is in the book club. Anyone who would like to have this book, just send me a message here on YouTube. Leave me an email. Peace to my honorary sponsor. Your work is appreciated. We wish you peace and prosperity, family. Yeah. So I just want to give you a quick quiz, family. 3 questions. Is cosmology a science? Is astrophysics a science? Huh? No, they're not a science. Is paleontology a science? No, it's not a science. Why do you say that, Sage Talx? Because science moves forward only by the scientific method, which is also known as the experimental method. Part of this is the reason why DNA testing for lineage is a hoax. A complete hoax, family. You have to have a sample of the ancient people's DNA who you claiming that you matching me to, and you don't have this. Ooh, I wasn't supposed to know this, or just, what am I supposed to be, a childlike mind? These people overestimate themselves and underestimate us, family. Dear evolutionists, won't you send my channel $10 to $20? Cash App, $ATM Media, all caps, one word. Cash App, $ATM Media, all caps, one word. Won't you evolutionists send me $10 to $20? Hell, I'm saving you money on them stupid ass books you ain't got to buy in the future. You can listen to me. You want some ad hoc, make it up as you go along-ism? I got it. I can make some shit up as we go along that's actually beneficial on Chief. Cause that motherfucking evolution shit, I don't believe in hell, bro. But boy, you better hope it ain't one. You hear? That's where your ass going with that shit. It's unintelligent to disrespect God based on an agnostic position. It's fucking unintelligent. Super unintelligent. Check out some of this Blame Game by my homeboy Big Wolf Lex. Evolution by deceit. Evolution by deceit. For those of you with a screen, just quickly look at your screen. What you see there is a sandcastle. It's kind of a nice sandcastle, but it's a sandcastle nevertheless. It's not the most complicated thing a human can build. In fact, a child can build a sandcastle. But all sandcastles share a common denominator. And that is, all sandcastles were formed by an intelligent being. The genome of a rat. The genome of a rat. The genome of rats is 1,000 times more. Excuse me, I didn't say that right. The genome of a rat is orders of magnitude more complex than the most complex sandcastle that humans have built. A rat's genome is orders of magnitude more complex than any sandcastle you have ever seen. Every sandcastle was created or formed by someone. Why wouldn't a more complex, why wouldn't something more complex take an even more intelligent mind to create? Children of a lesser god still didn't evolve. You're just a child of a lesser god. Signs and symbols for the conscious mind. I don't want to have to break that down. I'm going to say that again. Children of a lesser god were still created. Even if the Yakub story is true, that's not evolution, family. You star seeds and you females in the womb need to stop it. You motherfucker star seeds be the dumbest motherfucker. You feel me? You'd be smart if you wasn't so damn dumb. Play that shit, Cardi. But that some bitch learn how to make a melody, it'd be a killer. That's a joke. So what I need to know, what I need you to know, family, we're gonna get into a little bit of scholastics here before we round out this out. Okay. Evolutionists use hypostatization as fact. They do this all the time. A hypostatization is merely a reification fallacy. You're like, damn, you trade in a big word for a magic term. A reification fallacy is simply when you take something that is an abstract and not real or possibly conceptual and treat it as if it's a concrete thing. This is a reification fallacy. Sometimes someone may say you're begging the question when you commit this logical fallacy. So what we're going to do today is we're going to charge evolutionists with reification fallacies, hypostatization errors. Another logical fallacy that evolutionists like to use is the no true Scotsman logical fallacy. An example of the no true Scotsman logical fallacy says this: oh, okay, well, he killed 1,000 people? Oh, no true Christian would kill 1,000 people, so that's just a lie. He's not a Christian. Yeah, this guy was a Christian, though, and he killed 1,000 people. That's the no true Scotsman logical fallacy. And how it works in evolution is like this. Oh, you don't believe in evolution? Oh, that means you just dumb and you don't understand it. Because no one who really understood evolution would disbelieve it. That's the no true Scotsman logical fallacy. Oh, no true Scotsman doesn't get drunk and beat his wife. Yeah, but he's Scottish and he doesn't get drunk and beat his wife. It's a logical fallacy. Beware of those, and don't fall into those. It's only an intellectual trap, not even a real trap. It's just bullshit. You know, it's little neat parlor tricks that are vacuous and mean nothing when you really, really get down to the base of what's being said. So I like to arm all of my brothers and sisters. So we're going to arm you today. I'm going to read today an article called 12 Arguments Evolutionists Should Avoid, okay? 12 arguments that evolutionists and they monkey ass need to avoid. Y'all ready? Let's get it. I'm going to read it straight through, fam. For years, we've maintained a list of arguments creationists should avoid, and they are: number one, evolution is a fact. When our core beliefs are attacked, it's easy for humans to retreat to statements such as "my belief is a fact and yours is wrong." That's exactly why we cannot trust mere human understanding to explain the unobservable past. Emotion and pride gets in the way. Evolution is not a fact, no matter how many times evolutionists say it is. It's a framework built on assumptions about the past, assumptions that will never have direct firsthand observational proof. And without observational proof, that means you have no scientific proof, because the scientific method is based on observed phenomena. Okay. Argument number two: only the uneducated reject evolution. That's the no true Scotsman logical fallacy. Besides the arrogance of such statements, this argument has no footing and should be cast off. Mainly those who make this claim usually define educated people as those who accept evolution. Anyone who disagrees fails the test, no matter what their background. And if we follow this ideology, Isaac Newton must have been uneducated. There are many lists of well-educated scholars who look to the Bible for answers. And we could point out Darwin's own deficit of formal education. He earned a bachelor's in theology. But the bigger issue is that education or lack does not guarantee the validity of a person's position. Argument number 3. Overwhelming evidence in all fields of science support evolution. The irony, of course, is that for centuries prior to Darwin's publication on the origin of species, the majority of scientists found the opposite to be true. The evidence supported creation. What changed? Not the evidence, rather the starting point changed. Moving from the Bible to humanism, the starting point changed. Creationists continue to see everything in light of God's word and all evidence as supporting the biblical account. Okay, at this time, I find it apropos to say that not everyone who believes that we were created or disbelieves evolution is a Christian or a religious person. You can count me among the people who is not a Christian. Now, I use not Christian, that's false. I use Bible axioms in order to impart knowledge from time to time. And I do this because most people find the Bible to be a book, a foundational book. And so I do tend to use axioms from the Bible in order to elucidate points. Now, but I just found it necessary to say that at that particular time. Okay. In reality, there is no neutral starting point. Everyone, whether they acknowledge it or not, interprets the facts according to a particular way of thinking or according to their worldview. Perception. Excuse me. Yeah, perspective. Perception, same thing. Argument number 4. Doubting evolution is like doubting gravity. Why does this argument fail? Well, we'll show you. Take a pencil or a pen, hold it in the air, then drop it on the floor. That's gravity. Next, make a single-celled organism like an amoeba. Turn that into a goat. Go ahead. We'll wait. Now, as you see, there's a fundamental difference between operational science, which can be tested through repeatable experimentation, and historical science, which cannot. At this time, I feel it's necessary to speak on gravity. Scientists can't explain what gravity is. They just named a phenomenon gravity. But those shows will be coming in the future. Argument number 5. Doubting evolution is like believing the world is flat. Evolutionary stories about fossils are not direct observations. They're assumption-based beliefs. The fossil record does not prove evolution. Argument number 6. It's here, so it must have evolved. A conclusion does not prove that the premise is true. That is, if the answer is 4, we could arrive at that number of 2 ways. Excuse me. I'm going to reread that. That is, if the number is 4, we could arrive at that any number of ways. 2 plus 2, 5 minus 1, 3 plus 1. In the same exact way, evolutionists often assume that since certain species or traits exist, this is proof of evolution because that's how it must have happened. This argument, however, is self-reflexive and useless. Argument number 7. Natural selection is evolution. I kind of covered that. This is likely the most abused argument on the list and most in need of being scrapped. Often evolutionists bait people into showing them a change that is merely natural selection and then switch to say this proves molecules to man evolution. Remember that bait and switch I talked about? However, this is quite misleading. Natural selection, even according to evolutionists, does not have the power to generate anything new. The observable process can only act upon existing characteristics so that some members of a species are more likely to survive. In fact, that's an important component in the biblical worldview, believe it or not. Argument number 8. Common design means common ancestry. Historical common descent is not and cannot be confirmed through observation. Rather, certain observations are explained by assumptions about the past. These observations, we might add, have alternative explanations. Common body plans or homology, for example, do not prove common descent. That's an assumption. A common designer fits the evidence just as well, if not better. Did you get that? A common designer actually fits the evidence better than a common ancestor. Argument number 9. Sedimentary layers show millions of years of geologic activity. Sedimentary layers show one thing, sedimentary layers. In other words, we could and should study the rocks, but the claim that rocks prove the earth must be billions of years old ignores one important point. Such an interpretation is built upon a stack of assumptions. When we start from the Bible and examine the rocks within the framework of a global flood, the need for long ages vanishes. The reason they keep talking about the Bible, family, is because the things that the evolution cannot account for are all accounted for in the Bible. And the Quran, Shout out to my Quran believers out there. Shout out to my Bible believers. Shout out to all true walkers. I have nothing but the utmost respect for people who choose a walk in life and walk it. Truly. Shout out to you, those of you who do this. Argument number 10. Mutations drive evolution. This is the one for me, family. Because they'll mutation drive evolution your ass to death if you let them. I promise you. They definitely will. They definitely will. Get this blame game cracking, man. What the F? We can read these last couple of points from my families up in here. So where we at? Point number 10? Argument number 10. These are the 12 arguments that evolutionists need to stay away from. Argument number 10. Mutations drive evolution. Perhaps because of movies and fiction, the popular idea is that mutations make evolution go. Given enough time, shifts in the genetic code will produce all the variety of plants and animals on Earth and beyond. The problem? Mutations cannot produce the types of changes evolution requires, not even close. Some may benefit an organism, for example, beetles on a windy island losing wings, but virtually every time mutations come with the cost. Remember, I just covered that. Mutation is always situation specific, and it never comes with a survival benefit across the board. It's always like situation specific. Mutations are usually deleterious, and the ones, like I said, that really take hold, it's really based in a loss of genetic specificity. Okay. A loss of genetic specificity. Leisure domain of evolution proponents. We just discussed it. How they like to bait and switch. They tell you evolution deals in common ancestry. They'll show you natural selection to prove the common ancestry. No, 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 no. We understand natural selection. I naturally selected my baby mama. Okay, we get that. But it's a reification fallacy if you're not telling me how my being came into existence biologically. It's a reification fallacy. Because you're taking an abstract and treating it as a concrete. Natural selection is not a thing, but a concept, a process. You get that? Oh, yeah. Oh, evolution. So I have here, I'm going to read you a couple of passages from a book. What I really want to do is I want to get down into get a little bit more detailed, and so we can discuss, um, in detail what we're talking about, and you can discuss rather amongst yourselves and parse. You know what I mean? And let's get it, y'all. So this is a book by Harun Yahya. This is not the one I shouted out. It deals with evolution as well. It's called New Research Demolishes Evolution by Harun Yahya. It's only a 66-page publication. Okay. This part I found to be really, to drive the point home really well. Okay. So it's the section on, I'm going to read two sections actually. Okay. I'm going to read the section called Natural Selection, and then I'm going to go right into industrial melanism, which is hilarious. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Y'all ready? Maybe I should fire up some of this dope. I don't know. Okay. Let me see. Okay, we're here. All right, family, let's go. Natural selection. As process of nature, I think he meant as a process of nature, natural selection was familiar to biologists before Darwin, who defined it as a mechanism that keeps species unchanging without being corrupted. Darwin was the first person to put forward the assertion that this process had evolutionary power, and he then erected his entire theory on the foundation of this assertion. The name he gave to his book indicates that natural selection was the basis of Darwin's theory, the origin of species by means of natural selection. However, since Darwin's time, there has been not a single shred of evidence put forward to show that natural selection causes living beings to evolve. Colin Patterson, the senior paleontologist of the Museum of Natural History in England, who is also a prominent evolutionist, by the way, stresses that natural selection has never been observed to have the power to cause things to evolve. No one has ever produced a species by mechanisms of natural selection. No one has ever gotten near it, and most of the current argument in neo-Darwinism is about this question. Natural selection holds that those living things that are more suited to the natural conditions of their habitat will prevail by having offspring that will survive, whereas those that are unfit will disappear. For example, in a deer herd, under the threat of wild animals, naturally those that can run faster will survive. That is true. But no matter how long this process goes on, it will not transform those deer into another living species. The deer will always remain deer. When we look at the few incidents the evolutionists have put forth as observed examples of natural selection, we see that these are nothing but a simple attempt to hoodwink industrial melanism. In 1986, In 1986, Douglas Futuima produced a book, The Biology of Evolution, which is accepted as one of the sources explaining the theory of evolution by natural selection in the most explicit way. The most famous of his examples on this subject is about the color of the moth population, which appeared to darken during the Industrial Revolution in England. According to the account, around the outset of the Industrial Revolution in England, the color of the tree barks around Manchester was quite light. Because of this, dark colored moths resting on those trees could easily be noticed by the birds that fed on them, and therefore they had very little chance of survival. 50 years later, as a result of pollution, the barks of the trees had darkened, and this time the light colored moths had become the most hunted. As a result, the number of light-colored moths decreased, whereas the dark-colored moths increased, since the latter were not easily noticed. Evolutionists use this as a great evidence to their theory. Evolutionists, on the other hand, take refuge and solace in the window dressing by showing how light-colored moths evolved into dark ones. However, it should be quite clear that this situation can in no way be used as evidence for the theory of evolution. For natural selection did not give rise to a new form that had not existed before. Dark colored moths existed in the moth population before the Industrial Revolution. Only the relative proportions of the existing moth varieties in the population changed. Read that again. Only the relative proportions of the existing moth varieties in the population changed. The moths had not acquired a new trait or an organ which would cause a speciation. In order to have a moth turn into another living species, a bird for example, new additions would have to be made to the genes. That is, an entirely separate genetic program would have to be loaded so as to include information about the physical traits of the bird. Briefly, natural selection does not have the capability to add a new organ to a living organism, remove one, or change the organism into another species. Quite contrary to the image that evolutionists conjure up. The greatest evidence put forward since Darwin has been able to go no further than the industrial melanism of the moths in England. I'm gonna read that paragraph over for power. Don't feel like I read it well enough. Briefly, natural selection does not have the capability to add new organs to a living organism, to remove one, or change the organism into another species, which is quite contrary to the imaginings of evolutionists. The greatest evidence put forward since Darwin has been able to go no further than the industrial melanism of the moths in England. So the greatest evidence put forward by Darwinism has no power to add a new organ to a living thing, or to remove one, or to change an organism from one to another species. Yes, family, evolution is a hoax. Let's do a chapter on mutation. Y'all ready to hear me stumble over these words? Let's go. Mutations are defined as breaks or replacements taking place in the DNA molecule, which is found in the nucleus of the cell of a living organism and which holds all the genetic information. These breaks or replacements are the result of external effects such as radiation or chemical action. Every mutation is an accident and either damages the nucleotides making up the DNA or changes their locations. Most of the time, they cause so much damage and modification that the cell cannot repair them. Mutation, which evolutionists frequently hide behind, is not a magic wand that transforms living organisms into a more advanced and perfect form. The direct effect of mutations is harmful. The changes effected by mutations can only be like those experienced by the people in Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and Chernobyl. That is, death, disability, and freaks of nature. Read that again. Mutation, which evolutionists frequently hide behind, is not a magic wand that transforms living organisms into a more advanced and perfect form. The direct effect of mutations is harmful. The changes affected by mutations can only be like those experienced by the people in Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and Chernobyl. That is, death, disability, and freaks of nature. That's not what the trusted evolutionist had told me. And I believed it, damn. Y'all better stop listening to these motherfuckers. Evolution is telling you all this shit with a comment full of typos. Come on, man. Stop it. Okay. The changes affected by mutations can only cause people to be disabled and freaks of nature. The reasons for this is very simple. DNA has a very complex structure, and random effects can only cause harm to the structure. B.G. Ranganathan states, mutations are small, random, and harmful. They rarely occur, and the best possibility is that they will be ineffectual. These four characteristics of mutations imply that mutations cannot lead to an evolutionary development. A random change in a highly specialized organism is either ineffectual or harmful. A random change in a watch cannot improve the watch. It will most likely harm it, or at best be ineffectual. An earthquake does not improve the city, it brings destruction. Not surprisingly, no useful mutation has been observed so far. All mutations have been proven to be harmful. The evolutionist scientist Warren Reaver comments on the report prepared by the Committee on Genetic Effects of Atomic Radiation, which had been formed to investigate mutations that may have been caused by the nuclear weapons used in the Second World War. Many will be puzzled about the statement that practically all known mutant genes are harmful, for mutations are a necessary part of the process of evolution. How can a good effect, evolution to higher forms of life, result from mutations, practically all of which being harmful? He's basically saying that you cannot drive evolution through a process that's harmful, when evolution is considered to be a refining process, a perfecting process. Every effort put into generating a useful mutation has resulted in failure. For decades, evolutionists carried out many experiments to produce mutations in fruit flies, as these insects reproduce very rapidly, and so mutations would show up quickly. Generation upon generation of these flies were mutated, yet no useful mutation was ever observed. Evolutionist geneticist Gordon Taylor writes thusly: in all of the thousands of fly breeding experiments carried out all over the world for more than 50 years, a distinct new species has never been seen to emerge. Not even a new enzyme. Damn, he got down on y'all ass. I'm gonna read that again, boy. That boy got down on y'all ass, boy. And he an evolutionary geneticist. And all the thousands of fly breeding experiments carried on, of all of the fly breeding experiments carried out throughout the world for more than 50 years, a distinct new species has never been seen to emerge, not even so much as a new enzyme. You bitches ain't even made a new enzyme. And I'm talking about that's with us cheating and using intelligent design trying to do the shit and still can't do the shit in laboratory conditions. You telling me that evolution can do it in earth conditions? Come on, man. Y'all, here's what you some bitches done did now. You done took evolution and put a bow tie on them, okay? And gave him God powers while saying he ain't conscious. That's what y'all done did, man. You gave evolution God powers and say God don't exist. It's really idiotic to me, but okay. Another researcher, Michael Pittman, comments on the failure of their experiments carried out on the fruit flies. Morgan, Goldschmidt, Muller, and other geneticists have subjected generations of fruit flies to extreme conditions of heat, cold, light, and dark, and treatments by chemicals and radiation. All sorts of mutation, all sorts of mutations, practically all trivial or positively deleterious, have been produced. Man-made evolution? Not really. Few of the geneticists' monsters could have survived outside the bottles they were bred in. In practice, mutants die, are sterile, or tend to revert to the wild type. The same holds true for man. All mutations that have been observed in human beings have deleterious results. On this issue, evolutionists throw up a smokescreen and try to show even examples of such deleterious mutations as evidence of evolution. All mutations that take place in humans result in physical deformities. It results in infirmities such as Mongolism, Down syndrome, albinism, dwarfism, or cancer. Mongolism is basically retardation or Down syndrome. These mutations are presented in evolutionist textbooks as examples of the evolutionary mechanism at work. Needless to say, a process that leaves people disabled or sick cannot be an evolutionary mechanism. Evolution is supposed to produce better forms that are more fit to survive. To summarize, there are three main reasons why mutations cannot be pressed into the service of supporting evolutionists' assertions. Point number one, or reason number one. The direct effect of mutations is harmful. Since they occur randomly, they almost always damage the living organism that undergoes them. Reason tells us that unconscious intervention in a perfect and complex structure, will not improve that structure, but impair it. Indeed, no useful mutation has ever been observed. Reason number two why mutations cannot be pressed into the service of supporting evolutionist theorem. Mutations add no new information to an organism's DNA. The particles making up the genetic information are either torn from their places, destroyed, or carried off to different places. Mutations cannot make a living thing acquire a new organ or a new trait. They can only cause abnormalities, like a leg sticking out of the back or an ear from the abdomen. Reason number three why mutations cannot be pressed into the service of supporting evolutionist claims. In order for a mutation to be transferred to the subsequent generation, it has to have taken place in the reproductive cells of the organism. A random change that occurs in a causal cell or organ of the body cannot be I read that incorrectly. A random change that occurs in a casual cell or organ of the body cannot be transferred to the next generation. See, it has to be in a causal cell, like a reproductive cell, alleles and gametes. For example, the human eye altered by the effects of radiation or by other causes will not be passed on to subsequent generations. Briefly, it is impossible for living beings to have evolved because there exists no mechanism in nature that can cause them to evolve. This agrees with the evidence of the fossil record, which demonstrates that this scenario is far removed from reality. Yeah. So do you guys get that? Why mutations cannot drive evolution? So they say that us and chimpanzees have a common ancestor and we're related. The chimpanzee is alive and we alive. But there's some bitch in between dead than the motherfucker. Is that true? Of course not, it's not true. It's some bullshit. Hogwash, I tell ya. Complete hogwash, family. You understand? Evolutionists say that to believe in God is silly and childish. They say this. But then they turn right around and say shit like this. Humans evolved after a chimp and a pig had sex. This is an American geneticist who made this statement. His name is Eugene McCarthy. Odd that his name would be Eugene. Odd, isn't it? I think Eugene might mean good genes or something like that. But this man said humans evolved after chimps and pigs had sex. But I thought that there was a special, interspecies barrier that kept us from being able to reproduce with other species. Well, what do you know? Not according to Eugene McCarthy. According to Eugene McCarthy, humans evolved after chimps and pigs had sex. You hear this shit, fam? After chimps and pigs had sex. See, here's the issue, fam. The people that's going around saying this are children of a lesser God. But guess what? They still didn't evolve. You understand? They still did not evolve, no matter how much they lie and say that they evolved, family. They did not evolve. Okay? We're getting closer and closer and closer to the truth. Do you remember when Elijah Muhammad said that a certain ethnicity was actually part pig? He said that. Now a geneticist is agreeing with him. Being part pig doesn't mean you evolved, family. You can believe you're part pig mixed with chimp. And they had an offspring that was a human. How was that evolution though? That's not evolution. That's Frankensteinian reproduction. It's not evolution. But since you postulate that, how about without gene splicing or anything of that nature? How about you reproduce another human using a chimp and a pig? Do it. These shows are only going to get deeper, and I'm sure that the deeper I get into these subject matters, that the more targeted I may become. So, family, I have businesses, family. When you think like me, you can't work for anybody. You can't work in corporate America. You can't work for people. Not because you are incapable of doing the work, but because people don't want to be around people like you that challenge the paradigm. A paradigm changing mind is sometimes uncomfortable to be around. And so I have my own businesses, family. But every business depends upon the customers. When these single mothers hear this shit, when these evolutionists hear this shit, when them lab coats hear this shit, You think they're gonna want to do and come frequent my businesses? No. What I'm telling you, family, is this channel needs support. Okay. I spend inordinate amounts of time doing research, and I bring and present it to you. I don't hide my bibliography, family. You're gonna know exactly what I know. Support the channel, family. Allow me to do this with 100% of my time versus having to work for money and study and then come to you when I can. Support the channel. Don't you need a champion? Don't you need a champion always studying? Always working out mentally? Always. That's what we need, a champion. We need champions. This channel is going to create master students. This channel is going to create master students. Some would say, well, you should be aiming to create master teachers. A master teacher is a master student. And the aim of this channel is to create master students. How you star siege in the back door? How you goof ass males who was females in the womb during the night, man? I usually don't even ask about you some bitches, but what up, fam? You still a girl in the womb, or have you figured out that sex is determined by chromosomes? Have you figured it out? I want to show you who you're dealing with, family. I need to show you guys who you're dealing with because this is important. Look at this. This is an American named Chief Oshkosh. This is a photograph. This is an artist's depiction of Chief Oshkosh. I don't want to say it, but these the same motherfuckers telling you about evolution. Did Chief Oshkosh evolve? Or is they bitch ass your line? I think they bitch ass your line, fam. You feel me? This is not about racism. This is good versus evil. Good versus evil, fam. I'm not a Christian. My religion has no name because it only has one follower, me. I made it up. I suggest to every man to make up his own religion. His own religion, his own bind, his own thing that he's bound to. It should come from inside. Every man should create his own religion and he should follow it. And it should be based in logic. The foundation should be logical. And things that are not logical that you believe, you shouldn't tell people. You could lead someone astray. Shout out to Big Wolf Lex. Check my man Big Wolf Lex out on SoundCloud, man. It's soundcloud.com/Big Wolf Lex. I call him Cardi the G. The G stand for genius. You feel me? That's my homie, man. I'm going to be bringing you more and more of my think tank. I'm going to start interviewing some of these brothers and sisters on this channel coming next week. I got a great show coming for y'all this week. Just stay tuned. We're going to have a brand new show, a brand new concept for a new show. You guys stick it out, man. We building the channel slowly and organically. I don't really share my videos, fam. I want everyone here to be here because it's just the organic happening, not because I shared it. So that's what we doing. Sage, not satire, baby. Why did the chicken cross the road? Because a bitch ass evolutionist said he was a dinosaur. Chicken like, huh? You trying to divorce me from my inheritance, family? You trying to make me non-inheritable, family? Try to tell me I'm a dinosaur and I'm a damn chicken. I need my inheritance. I'm not gonna dishonor my mothers and fathers. Yes. That boy playing an H minor. I ain't never heard him before playing H minor and sharp. God damn. Family, evolution is a hoax. Don't listen to nobody talk that evolution shit. A 40-year-old can't tell you shit that take millions of years to happen. We don't even have 1,000,000 years of written history. Tell them motherfucker Star Caesar, sit your ass down. All them woke female gurus with this evolution shit. Sit your motherfucking ass down. You know damn well a woman is not supposed to teach a man. She is to sit and remain quiet. Sit your ass down. And listen to these people who study these things talk about this shit. You just talking from a place of emotionalism. Somebody told me the black woman is God, and that's all part of the evolutionary tree, so shit, I think I'm gonna go with it. Girl, please. Heal them motherfuckers' scalps then. Fuck out of here. Evolutionists are the least witty people on the earth. And with that, I leave you. Peace and love, family. This has been a great show. Support the channel. Until next time.